Hey everybody, welcome back to another video. My name is Pat with Like Attracts Like Evolution, and today we're going to talk about 3 powerful things to be aware of inside of your awakening journey that will actually help you remove your attention from your past experiences, be present in the moment, and live your life from a place of trust and guidance from within instead of the past version of fight or flight that we have been living from. Stick around, we're diving in deep when we come back. So if you are like me and most people, you've probably found yourself at some point living in some type of a situation that you feel you have gone through before, repeating some kind of a pattern or some kind of a loop over and over and over again, wishing that things were different than they were, or that you would show up differently, or that things would start to happen to you differently in your life so that you could finally change your life and get out of this rut. It may not even be that your physical reality was showing you some loop over and over, but it's possible that it could be a mental construct, a mental loop of repeating patterns of unconscious thought that you're now becoming hyper aware of and wishing you could break the cycle of those thought patterns, because even the thought alone is starting to cause some disease, some uncomfortability inside of you emotionally and internally, wishing that these thoughts would stop so that you could finally feel better. So the first thing that we're talking about here is addressing the amount of attention we give to our past and the story of us. When we refer to things like the ego or the personal mind, it's the part of us that we attach our identity to that involves the voice or the play-by-play or the narrative of the story of you. Insert your name here. We go through life in each moment, each present moment that we never leave. And whatever it is that is happening at that level of consciousness, when we're unconscious to who we are, we believe it's happening in most cases to us. So as these stamps kind of continue to grow in the story of us, they build up more energetic momentum, and we feel compelled to give it our attention, because ego also likes to create problems and then try to fix them. Create problems and then try to fix them. Ego does this because it's all it can do. It identifies things, it's labeling things, it's judging things, and it's doing all of those things to you also. So it's identifying you, it's labeling you, it's judging you. This is just a mechanism. This is something that is happening. It's literally a program. But in our unconscious state, before we wake up, if you will, we are identifying ourselves as the program. So whatever it says, whatever it suggests, whatever it represents or believes to be true, it by default translates to us, and then we agree, and then we feel the way it says we should feel. So as it's judging our past, what we do is in a current moment, we bring our attention to the past and then relive it again here. So since you only have the moment you are in, which is what we are looking to align to in this video, being that you only have the moment you're in, you're also only creating in the moment you're in. And how you are creating is by what you are choosing to give your attention to. What you believe or who you believe yourself to be in this game will be the thing that dictates what you give your attention to. Because if you are believing you are unconsciously this victim ego that his best days were behind them and things aren't the way that they're supposed to be, if you're coming from that place of lack, of disconnect, of separation, if that's who you believe you are, then that's the filter you are navigating and creating reality from. And that is all you will be able to see as you look out in the expansive external world. What you realize is that the external world is not external at all. It is a reflection of you, who you believe yourself to be, and therefore the filter that you are viewing that reality from. So if we are constantly using our valuable attention and awareness to focus on a character that believed it was a victim, or that is constantly revisiting past situations to try to fix them or forget them or push them down in some way, whatever we're giving our attention to is what we're creating. If we're giving our attention to the past for any reason, it's being created again for us to walk through. So one of the most powerful ways that we can allow ourselves to no longer give our valuable attention to our past is to access a deeper truth and understanding that all things are by design. There is nothing in any past, present moment that did not go exactly as it was supposed to be, you have lost nothing. There is nothing to gain. There's nothing that should have gone differently. And if you can align with and understand the truth in the statement that everything is by design and it has all led you to here, and awakening in this moment to this reality, or if you woke up 2 years ago to it, nothing changes. You didn't wake up 2 years ago because you have woken up now. Time is not real, and what you do with it now is what matters. How you evolve consciously is what matters. So if you can relax and surrender to what has been created, then you will find actually that you will be giving less attention on your past and to your past and ego to try to figure out how to make it different. When you don't need it to be different, you can surrender to it. When you surrender to it, you will find yourself at the next part of this process we're talking about here, which is one with the moment you are in. So finding the moment. This is what happens when we release our attention and our energy and our identity from the past. When you're no longer consumed with the past or trying to fix it or resolve it, you actually can become way more present in the moment you are in. The reason why many humans don't like this part when they free themselves from their past and drift right back to it is because what is created for you now, what your life is, what your relationships are, what job you probably have, whatever it is that's happening now is a result of what you have created previously in your unconscious state. So as you wake up and become more aware, it's like putting glasses on and seeing the wreckage and the rubble and being like, I didn't know any of this was here. What's going on? So the journey is to become more and more aware and more consciously aligned to your gifts and your truth and your balance and your purpose so that you can apply that energy in the moment you are in to whatever situation has been created in your life from the unconscious versions of you. You forgive those unconscious versions of you as they forgive you, and you surrender to the moment using your higher consciousness in the moment you are in, no longer distracted, to see what it needs and offer your gifts to it so that you can bring the moment closer to love and harmony and balance. You can do this inside of your relationships. You can do this inside of your own connection and relationship to yourself. You can do this so many different ways that you will actually be amazed at the profound difference your life takes on just from allowing yourself a connection to offer your gifts to the world in the moment you are in, instead of using the moment you are in to run away from the world or to take gifts from it, which is again an egoic construction. So finding the moment you are in is actually where all of your power comes from. It's where everything is realized, because from that place you get to go from service to self to service to others, literally by choosing to no longer need to take from the world. And now you understand that you can offer, and giving and receiving become one thing. So this third point that we're going to talk about, the third and final point, is once you have released your identity from the past and you no longer agree that things should be different, and you're working through that consciously and emotionally to find the moment more often. And you understand that inside of the moment you are in, this is the moment you have been given to create in, and the consciousness that you bring to that moment matters. Who you are being inside of that moment, and whatever is presented to you matters. Here's the next reason why many people can't stay in the moment that they are in and they drift back into the unconscious. Because ego is going to want to come in and retake control. It's going to want to retake the reins and manipulate or kind of convince you to do things that you used to do in order to get the results that you needed to get in order to validate your character in the world. And the way that this works, the shift from what we'll call paradigm 1, which is believing that you need to take stuff from the world to be okay, and into paradigm 2, which is you understand that you are lacking nothing. You are connected to the source of everything, and you are here in the moment to give your gifts through yourself to the world so that you can live in balance and peace in a reality that you prefer. The difference between the two is the degree of trust the human being has in the moment that they have now recently found that the next step will be given to them. Again, ego wants everything to be laid out and mapped out, and you got to work and go really, really hard. I will tell you that in my own personal journey, I have experienced both of these paradigms at a very, very high level, from doing and working and literally to the bone, my fingers, to try to get a result in the world. And it didn't matter what result came, I was still miserable. It was never enough. It was just an empty void of nothingness. And it didn't matter how hard I worked or how big the trophy or goal or money was. It was still empty because my reason for doing it wasn't aligned with a connection. It was aligned with the lack of a connection. It was aligned with the need to finally feel something that I didn't feel I had for myself. Inside of this second paradigm, realizing that you are the source of this, it can be very, very challenging to have that same mindset, a purpose-driven passion and alignment and insight from within, no longer relying on an external scenario to fuel you, but really, really a passionate pursuit of purposeful things as defined by you. But the next step will not be given to you until you do the step that you're in. And it requires such tremendous faith in your source. I don't care what you call it. Whatever you call the aspect of the highest or higher self, the all, the oneness of it all, the part of consciousness that knows way more than we do here, but we still have access to it as we grow and evolve and shift in consciousness. Whatever that is for you, ask yourself, what is your relationship to it? What do you believe it is? Do you believe it exists at all? What do you believe is inside of you that you're connected to? Because the truth is, whatever you answer that question with will be the result that you are going to have and feel in the world. If you are consciously or intellectually like, yeah, it exists, I'm sure it does, but you don't really, really believe it enough to trust it enough to just do the thing that you know you're meant to do, then you're constantly going to be coming from a past position and recreating all of those fear-based narratives in your life. You're going to constantly be confused, intellectually saying, but I do believe this stuff, but internally not really knowing what it is that you believe. So if you have found yourself free from your past and you're ready to show up in the moment you are in, the most important thing will be your relationship to whatever you believe is guiding you. Ask yourself, journal this, write this down. There is no shame in any game to say, I don't know what it is. I want to search and find out for myself. I'm done listening to you, Pat. I'm done listening to these podcasts and these, reading these books. I want to find out for myself what I am putting my faith in. And if you go with that level of honesty and surrender and the inquisitive nature of really trying to find out who you are and what this is in relationship to you, how it flows through you, the rewards on the other end will be everything that anyone and everyone has ever promised. But the people who actually allow themselves the space and the trusting nature to find out for themselves what it is without relying on someone else to tell them is few. But you can be that person. And when you allow that connection from yourself with the ultimate knowing, not intellectual, but the deepest level of acknowledgement and knowing for yourself who you are and what you are connected with, that relationship and the trust, it won't even be trust. You will just act in faith every single day. And by that, you will be able to affect and inspire what we'll call the collective unconscious that we were once a part of, that represents society and the narrative of humanity. You will now be able to have a positive impact on that because you have done your own inner work to clear your own resonance of the past into a clear moment now, and you can't give what you don't have. So it's not until you have that clear connection and that higher conscious space of love and trust and balance and faith and creativity, it's not until you have that for yourself that you could ever offer it to anyone else or live it in such a way that it inspires others to find it for themselves. And that is what I wish for each and every single one of you. Thank you so much for joining me on this video and on every video, really. I love you and I appreciate you. Have an amazing day, a wonderful night, and I'll see you next time.